So let's have a hypothetical lesion based around the 3-2 region, upper right 3-2. And we're going to say it's an intraosseous lesion. So if you make the lesion about 2 centimeters in width and 2 centimeters in height. Yeah, so what I'm thinking is if we resect the pre-maxilla, if you like, so if we take our resection from where the upper left 5 is to the upper right 5, you know, you've got the last standing premolar on the left.
Mm-hmm.
So if you draw a straight line in the transverse plane between posterior to the 5 going to the other 5 where you imagine it.
So resecting out the entire.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay. Okay. And then anteriorly, would you just kind of like a Lefort one?
Yeah, anteriorly we're gonna come up higher than a Lefort 1. We are gonna come up to the do you know the lateral piriform aperture, which is the bony ring around the nose?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So if you drop that down, so if you go from anterior to posterior, just underneath on both sides, you see a small, the infraorbital foramen cavity.
Mm-hmm.
So if you if you go below that about 1 centimeter,
okay,
and you go straight down.
Okay. Yeah. So I have I have the other plane here.
Correct.
So
Correct.
just coming straight across through here.
Yeah.
Okay. Got it.
We'll just make it sort of in terms just for demonstration purposes simple. You invariably do. That's it.
Okay. And let me just kind of lengthen this plane.
That's it.
Okay. And which scapula did you want to use for this one?
So usually, if now we're doing a midline lesion, it doesn't really matter as much, but usually we go for the contralateral to get increased pedicle length. But you can go for whatever scapula, doesn't matter.
Okay.
Go for the right.
Yep. So here's the right scapula. Would you orient so that the superficial side is superior, and then you'd place the scapula tip?
So, well, just to make it easier, so the tip, yes, you got it. So that's it. So the tip goes towards the anterior aspect,
Mm-hmm.
and the concave side becomes the new hard palate.
Okay. So the deep side.
Yeah.
It's facing inferior. Okay.
I think you had it actually.
Yep. Let me bring in the resected bone just so I can kind of match that anterior projection.
That's it. So if you show me a craniocaudal, so from palate end view, that's it. So what I'd like to do is, just so we're using the full scapula, is if we extend our resection margin to include up to the first on your left side. So your green lines, your posterior resection limit, could you extend them further back to meet the first set of teeth they encounter posteriorly?
Mm-hmm. All right. So let me hide what we previously resected, and I'll just show you. So it'll be kind of an angled cut.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. All right. And then kind of coming through here, do you want another plane right in front of the zygomas? Just kind of angling.
Yeah, just again, it's a straight plane. It basically mirrors that black line you just had. So it comes right across and drops posteriorly, inferiorly to meet those cuts.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Okay, and any adjustments needed to the positioning of the scapula now that you're seeing that new resection?
I'd come on your left-hand side,
Mm-hmm.
as if you're looking at on your right-hand side, looking up. I'd bring that resection a bit more posteriorly.
Okay.
Yeah, so bring that, just literally draw that line back. That's perfect. Because
Okay.
we'll have the pedicle coming out of that side then.
Okay. Yep. So let me cut the maxilla one more time here, and then I'll make sure that the scapula still looks okay.
Yeah, that's good. And the reason for that is just so we've got more bone. So when because the bone of the scapular tip's quite thin, and if we go further back, we get a thicker bone stock. So for implants, that's why I'm taking it further back. You see,
Okay.
if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay, so that's good.
All right. So I'll go ahead and cut the scapula, and then I'll bring in the mandible and just kind of show you a few views of how that's aligning.
Lovely.
Okay, first starting from the front, I can bring in that resected maxilla piece, and then
Nice,
from either side, and
nice,
then once more from below.
nice.
Okay.
So while you've got the horizontal views, you know, your lateral views you had.
Mm-hmm.
So just while we're there, we might as well sort out the plates.
Okay. Let
So
me.
essentially,
Yeah, go ahead.
does that work for you if we do it that way?
Yeah. It'll just take me some time to load it into the plating software for this one as well. But
Okay.
if you want to kind of talk through what you're looking for, I can start getting that set up and ready.
Yeah, so basically it's very simple. 2 4-hole plates. And then you have 2 holes on the native bone and 2 holes on the scapula, and 1 each side.
Okay. Perfect.
That's about it.
All right. Yep. So give me just a couple minutes and I'll get that set up here.
Yeah, that's okay.
So for the mid face, there's two different screw system options. Do you want to use the 1.7 or the 2.0 MP?
2, please.
And then for the profile height, we have 0.8, 1.0, 1.2, and 1.5.
I think if we go for the 1.5,
Okay.
is that quite a? I don't know. Is that quite a? If you put it on, let's just see.
Sure. Yep. So I can also show you the bone depths here, just so we can try to get the holes in the most solid bone possible.
That's
Um,
perfect.
so here on the native bone, I assumed this is kind of where you wanted the holes.
Well,
Is this going to
actually,
be okay or?
what I wanted is, if you imagine an L-shaped plate, and the vertical limb of the L will adapt to the zygoma,
Okay.
and then that will come down, and then the bottom limb of the L will go. That's it.
Okay. And you only want 2 holes on either side, or do you want 3 on the
I think
native?
we'll have 3. We'll have 3 on the zygoma. It's fine because we can get to it. So it's fine.
Okay.
Just thinking. I'm sort of thinking practically.
Yep. So these 2 holes, I'll just kind of zoom in. These are in pretty solid bone. This
Yeah.
one here is in about 5 millimeter bone, and then this one is obviously in thinner than 5 millimeters. I just want to make sure that that's okay.
Yeah, that's fine for the purpose of this. And if we mirror the same on the other side,
Okay. And then can I move the holes on the scapula back?
of course you
Is
can.
that okay?
To wherever is thick.
Okay. Yeah, it looks like the entire scapula, at least what we have simulated, is larger than 5 millimeters. There's just a
That's
couple
good.
spots that are highlighting. So,
Yeah, that's good.
all right. And then I will get the next plate.
And then we'll have 2 more plates, but I'll tell you where they go in a second once you've done that bit.
Sure.
I mean, you can, with those posterior screw holes on the actual zygoma, you can go further back. It doesn't really matter. The better solid bone, yeah, that's fine. And on the other side as well, that's okay.
Okay. Yeah, I might need to add a screw hole here just because that distance might be too long for the software.
So if you're gonna do that, do you want to add a 3rd screw in front? Because that looks quite nice, chunky bone on the scapula. No, not on the zygoma, but on the scapula.
Okay, so you want another one anterior? Sure.
Yeah, I'm just thinking. The only thing is, what's gonna dictate is where we put the implants. You see. So we'll have the same issue as in the mandible. That's why I was trying to keep as much space anteriorly. But that's fine. If you go round a spot, if you turn the image to the other contralateral side, now, can you move those screws on the scapula a bit further back?
Yep, and we can place the implants if you want to get those positioned in ideal bone, and then I can pull them into the plating software so we can design around them.
So basically, I'm just looking for 4 implants.
Okay. And the 4.0 size okay, or did you want to use a different size?
Which size, sorry?
4.0 by 10.
10 might be a push on here, but let's see. And have you got any broader? Do you do any broader, sort of fatter but shorter implants?
Yeah, I mean I can bring in any size that you'd like.
Let's try length 8 millimeters and 3.0 width.
Okay.
The other thing will be useful to have on this is the position of the lower teeth. I don't know whether we can fictitiously make that.
Yeah, so I have the mandible in here, so we can kind of use that, and I'm bringing in those longer cylinders as well, so we can make sure that we have the trajectory where you need it to be. So. And you said 4 implants, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So kind of, let me bring in the resected. So just kind of 2 on either side, or do you want 2 more in the front and then 1 on either side?
So if we can have 2 on either side of the midline and 2 further posterior to that.
Okay.
You see, what's that depth you've got there?
Yep, these are 8 millimeter.
Yeah, you see, even that is just.
Yeah, pretty. Yeah. It's pretty big for this.
Yeah, that's why we might even need to do. I mean, I suppose 8 is the yeah. Yeah, that's good. Can you put 1 behind that as well?
Yeah, of course.
But I can't remember where the screws are, you see, that's the only thing.
Yep. I'll pull in the implants into the plating software so we can make sure that we're designing the plate around.
Good, good,
And
good.
then
Perfect.
let me bring in the mandible. I just want to make sure that the angulation of all of those implants looks okay, or if you'd like me to adjust any of them.
Yeah, I like it. Good.
Okay, perfect. So I will export those implants and then bring them into the plating software so we can design the plate around those.
That's it.
Okay.
So we may have to go for a smaller plate. I can't remember what diameter did we use? 2.
Yes, the 2.0 MP.
What's the next size down?
1.7 screws.
Let's go for 1.7.
Okay, yep, no problem. Let me.
And let's see the other side as well. Let's just see.
Yep, but it looks like I'm kind of coming right into the implant there, so I can kind of move these holes forward to avoid that implant. Fine. And then I will get this dropped down to the 1.7.
Yeah.
Looks like. Would you be okay if this one came anterior and then I can just move that one in between?
Fine. That's fine.
Okay.
That's actually better because you've got the stability going right across.
Yep, no, let's kind of give you a submental view as well so you can see how that's aligning.
That's good. I don't know about that second hole on the right. Is that going to be bang on to the implant? It seems to be very close. No, it's okay. It's okay.
Yeah, we're close, but it does clear it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good. I like that.
Okay, great. Do you want to add any extra strength to the plate on this one by increasing the bar width, or just leave it as is? So we can increase the width. The current width is at 2.5, and we can add up to 1 millimeter.
About the point of this is if we're struggling with screw placements on limited space, you can get increased strength from the plate.
Yep. So you can see here the width is adjusted. The profile is the same. It's just adding more material in this dimension.
It's good. We'll do that. No, that's fine. I like that.
Okay, great.
Do you want anterior support at all on it, or are you happy without any anterior support?
I think the only thing I would do is not have something in the midline, is perhaps a 2-hole plate on the palate.
Yeah.
So if you tilt the flap up, let's look from the palate side, and perhaps if we had a Y-shaped plate with 2 holes on the native palate and 1 hole, just to avoid rotation, so it'll be 3 points.
Sure.
That's it. And these can be the same. It doesn't have to be high profile, or it could be the lower profile.
Okay. Yep. I have. So with the 1.7, we can do 0.8, 1.0, 1.2.
I think you're gonna. It's not gonna be very thick bone, so we need.
So maybe the lowest, the 0.8 profile.
Yeah, that'll be fine.
Okay. And then this is kind of the shape of the plate here. So it's contacting the native and then jumps down to the scapula.
That's fine, because that will be covered up by soft tissue, so it shouldn't be an issue.
Okay. And then I just wanted to double check the bone density. I can kind of get these screw holes in the thickest bone possible. Okay. How does that look for the location of those?
That looks great. That's definitely a big advantage actually for the video, is the hot spots of bone density and adjusting the thickness of the plate. I think that's really useful.
Did you want to adjust the thickness on these 2 bars as well, or just leave it?
No, just leave it at that, because if it gets too thick, they might feel it in the mouth, under the gum.
Right. Right. Okay. Yep. So here's just kind of, all right. So here's just kind of a quick rendering of those plates. Any adjustments needed, or any other views you wanted to look at? Okay.
I think they look great.
Okay, perfect. So for the scapula guides, I'll just show you some samples of what we've done for those, just to make sure we get those designed accordingly. So similar to the hip, we can have the lower profile marking walls. We can include the handle and fixation, or we can have the slots. With this one being the scapula tip, I would imagine the marking wall would be best. Otherwise, we'd have a pretty long slot for that. Okay.
Yeah, agree.
And then how much soft tissue do you want us to account for on that guide?
So it's usually about muscle-wise. I mean, it's variable, but give us about 4 millimeters.
Okay. All right. And for the maxilla guides, I can show you some samples of those. Typically, we're going to design those with the marking walls as well, just because they're lower profile. You don't have as much exposure. Or we can have the metal slots, but I would say most often we have the marking walls.
That's good.
Okay. And if we just kind of wrap onto the zygoma here on either side for registration, that should work okay?
Yeah.
Okay, great. All right. I think that's everything I need then. Anything else you wanted to review for today or any other questions? Oh, one final question, I guess, is regarding the dental implants. Did you also want like an occlusal-based guide for the location of the implants on the scapula? Or do you want that incorporated into the scapula guide design?
No, I think if I have an occlusal, I prefer that. It just gives me a bit more flexibility.